Today, we're taking this, we're gonna put it on that, we're gonna make a splitter. Let's go. Alright, so for those of you who are familiar with my Instagram, this is my Celica. Right now we're sitting at around that high off the ground. It's good. It's high enough to get around, but I'm still finding myself hitting on things, and I just want a little more protection. We're gonna go with the splitter out of this aluminum composite. First things first, we're gonna take this sheet, we're gonna get it all marked up, we're gonna cut it to fit the car. We're gonna go back, we're gonna bolt it on this. First thing we need to do is take off those side skirts. Alright, so got our side skirts off. Here they are. Not too good of shape on the bottom. This is actually like Flex Seal that I've sprayed on here just to protect these things. They were initial paint, but I just kind of been hitting a bunch of stuff on the road. Decided to change it up and spray these. You can see that there's some damage, so that's why we're putting this splitter on the bottom, so we no longer have that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lay this sheet out. I'm gonna put these side skirts on. I'm gonna draw out a design. Here we go. Okay, so some time has passed. I had some people come over, pick some things up. All I did, I got the sheet away from that wall. I set it on the garage floor. Here's my left driver side skirt. It's gonna sit something like this once we get it on here. I have a rough Sharpie design. I'm gonna make that straight. All we're gonna do is we're gonna put these on here, make sure there's enough space, and cut them down to something smaller that we can work with, since we don't need this big 5x7 sheet to work with here. And we can get it a little bit smaller, a little bit easier to use out there, and a little bit easier to cut. So I'm gonna cut it out, I'm gonna line these up, get them small, and we're gonna move forward. One thing I didn't do on this, if you've noticed, is I didn't put the front bumper. We are doing a front splitter lip over here on the front bumper. I'm gonna go ahead and take this off. I'm gonna stick it on here and make sure we can do it. I'm not going with a chin splitter where it's just the outside. I'm actually gonna do a whole half moon sort of shape that goes under the entire front bumper if I can. We're gonna figure out how to mount it and kind of use this extra space and not really waste this, since it's pretty expensive to get. Okay, and as you see, we got plenty of room to work with. So the plan is cut this right about here and make an entire undersplash kind of whole skid plate on the bottom for the front bumper. The side skirts, we're going to do the same thing with about 2 inches or so off of the side skirt itself, so they're not going to hang out super far, but just enough to see them. Front end again is going to be about 2 inches or so all the way around. Here we have some pretty simplistic eBay splitter rods that are going to kind of come down in there, and I don't really know what I'm doing with them yet, but we'll get to it. Let's go ahead and cut this up just for these side skirts, and we'll move forward with it. Okay, so new plan, sort of. Still going to do the same idea where we're going to cut this right here. Instead of moving the whole sheet outside, I'm actually just going to lay some 2x4s on this side here. I measured my jigsaw blades, and we won't cut into the concrete or anything if we put it on 2x4. So I'm just going to try and get these a little bit thinner in size, so that way I can kind of work with this sheet and I'm not dealing with a whole big square. So I'm going to run out, get some 2x4s, we're going to put it on here, and we're going to get going. Alright, so like I did earlier, we have a rough Sharpie here, just a little bit wider than the side skirt. I'm going to go ahead and cut that Sharpie line, and we'll be able to work with it a little bit smoother and a little bit easier outside. Alright, so we're going to be using our jigsaw here. I have a metal thick blade on here. Kind of wish I could use something else, but it's all I have. I did a little test cut here off camera, and it's cut through just fine. We didn't hit the garage floor or anything like that. Once we get this as a smaller piece, we'll be able to go outside and trim it up and really do our measurements on it. But I just want to kind of knock it down so we're not carrying this heavy sheet everywhere. So let's go ahead and make it a little smaller so we can take it outside. Alright, so first splitter's off right here. We cut down the size a little bit. We're going to move that 2x4 under it. We're going to do the same thing with this splitter. We're going to do a little Sharpie. Get rid of this, throw this all outside, and enjoy the sunshine. Alright, so had to clean up a little bit, get the metal shavings out of here so I can walk around without getting my knees poked by it. We're going to take this front bumper and we're going to move it back a little bit and kind of line it up back here and trim across the front. We're going to give it a little bit of an angle on it and save that extra scrap material over here just for any sort of thing that we'll ever need. We might make some winglets for it. I'm not too sure on what I'm going to do with it yet, but it looks like we're going to have some extra, so I'm going to go ahead and use that for something. I'm going to move this front bumper back, and we're going to measure this one out. Okay, so got our rough components cut out here. This is going to be our splitter. We're not going to go that far out, but it's enough to get a easy piece to work with and kind of dole it down as we go. I don't really have a design on how far out I want to go. I'm kind of just going to do it by eye. I'm going to save this extra scrap and maybe make some splitters for somebody else, or some side runners, or I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but I have some extra. Going to trim it off, going to move this all outside and start working out in the sun. Alright, so little update here. Camera battery died. Had this one cut out. Got it all trimmed up exactly how we're going to do it. All we're going to do is flip this one over, go to the other blank side skirt, and we're going to put it on, and we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So, some time has passed on working on the splitter kit here. We have our base outline. Both of these are stacked on top of each other. I'm going to cut down this wing a little bit. It's a little more than I wanted to, but that's alright. Basically, it's cut all the way down. Both of them are laid on. I have this clamped up here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this drill. We're going to screw through both at the same time and just flip it over, so it's going to be the exact same lineup. I'm not using clamps, I'm using wrenches here, but who cares, it's all going to work. I'm going to go ahead and drill these holes, and we're going to get this ready to be mounted up. Okay, so now we got our holes drilled up. I'm going to come in here with a grinder on this side. I'm going to get rid of that wing a little bit. I thought I would like it that big. I'm going to go a little bit smaller on it. As I cut this, it's pretty straight, but there are some little divots in it. I tried to match the curve on the splitter, or on the side skirt here, but I'm going to come in and I'm just going to clean this all up with a little palm sander and get that going. Okay, got that sanded up. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to take off the side skirt here, the actual side skirt, and we're going to cut down this winglet right here, and we are going to get ready to peel off this white protective coating and get it down to the aluminum composite bare material that's under there. Okay, so one of the problems we had with doing these splitters by hand is that when we did our main cut, I actually followed the curvature of the side skirt itself over here. I've decided to kind of go by hand and do a curvature here. I want to fix that out with a grinder wheel. I'm going to come in, I'm just going to try one more time like with the palm sander and just kind of get rid of any imperfections that I see. For me, it doesn't really matter too much, but I want to get in there and I kind of want to get rid of any jagged edges or anything that you might cut your hand on. Okay, so we got rid of most of the curvatures that I didn't really like. There was a couple sharp points on that one that I got rid of. Next thing we're gonna do is I still haven't drilled holes into this side skirt. I have them on this one. I'm gonna start mounting these up to each side skirt, re-drill the holes into this one, or actually get the holes drilled in it. And once we'll do that, we'll have all these side skirts ready. We're gonna peel off this white and get down to this nice sort of composite that you see there. Okay, so as you saw, I just kind of get this all left up. I have a 10 mil bolt here. I'm gonna do 4 of them that are gonna hold this in. Should be plenty to hold that on there. I don't think anything's going to be too bad about it. I really like the length that it has, and when this turns black, I think it's gonna look really good. What I'm gonna do off camera is I'm going to reline up that skirt, drill those holes, and get all this hardware installed, and I'll show you guys what it looks like after. Okay, so been a few days here. Unfortunately got called out for work, so video has kind of stopped, but we're picking up right where we left off. As I brought this car in, this side skirt is now attached. We have it fully on, it's fully bolted up. Over here, same thing. This side skirt now fully attached with its splitter that we made. There it is. The sticker has been taken off. It's piano black. These have a slight curve to them to match the side skirt. I do have some spare left over here. That's going to get cut to be a alternate, and they're going to be perfectly straight. I'm going to see how I like those. Over here we have the front end. I'm still working on this part right here. It's probably going to be another day or two before I get to this one. Of course I'm going to include that in the video, but it's going to be a few days. I'm heading off to bed. I'm flying out in the morning, so we'll see when I get to it, and I'll pick up where this left off. Been a while. So this is the front splitter. This is where I'm at. Been working on it here in and here out. 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there. Today I finally got some time to kind of sit down and do it. So here we are. We cut out this outside. I didn't show that. That's just the cutting process. I used the template of a bumper and just kind of traced around on the front lip. Kept it similar. I'm actually going to do a whole underside on this and keep kind of a splash panel out of it and do a whole thing on it. Instead of just this chin splitter like this, we're gonna do the whole thing. I'm gonna trim this up and get it all prepped and ready, and then we're gonna do the brackets, and I'll show you that. Alright guys, sorry for the noise, but we're gonna have to kind of deal with this while some lawn work goes on out there. Basically where we're at is I drilled the holes for the front splitter here. I'm gonna do a whole mount on the frame rails right here. You can see my brackets that I've made up. They're going to come down. They're going to be a little bit adjustable. They're going to be kind of, you can go up and down with them. You can kind of go side to side, but I'm going to have some foot pads on this that are also going to work with it. I drilled some holes in this. We're ready to mount this up. I'll kind of show you what these are. They're just little kind of foot brackets that I made. Super easy to make from Home Depot. They just kind of bolt up and go in there. I'm going to do 2, and then we're also going to do these front splitters that kind of come up here. Nice thing about this is it's actually not going to drill into the bumper, so we're not going to ruin that. I'm going to go ahead and drill those foot pads in, and I'll show you, and I'll kind of catch up. Maybe the lawn work will be done by then so you can kind of see. Here's essentially what it's going to look under. It's going to keep the water out, kind of protect everything under that front end, and hopefully we'll be doing a little better with these Washington rainstorms that kind of happen. Busy life. So things keep getting in my way. I keep kind of forgetting to record here, but here's where we're at. This whole front splitter is all mounted up. I'm ready to kind of put on this front bumper. I'll show you what I did, even though I kind of did it off camera and you don't get to really see, but you can kind of figure it out. What I did was I bought these sheet from Home Depot. They just have these little pre-drilled circles in them. I drilled my own. These are just standard, I think, M7 bolts that I just put up through the bottom. We have a carriage bolt here that goes into this bracket. Here's the bracket. And basically what we did was we did a little 90. It comes up and it connects to the factory tow hook here. You can kind of get this out of the way. It bent up to that, and that's how we kind of have this bolted up. It's very sturdy right now. The only thing we need to do is kind of go on the front and kind of adjust that. But here's a closer look at the bracket. Yes, that's wood. I'm using one of these wood 90 kind of degree bends. The whole purpose of this splitter was to kind of keep it cheap, and this is what does it. I mean, this piece right here is about 83 cents. I think this part right here was about $1. And so putting them together, you know, I had nails left over, I had this wood left over. Each one of these bolts is about 40 cents a piece. So in total for hardware, we're at about $20. And so really it's a cheap alternative to try and do this and try and kind of keep it cheap. It is adjustable on these factory tow hooks. You do get a little bit of play in them. I already bolted mine up, but as you can tell, super rigid for now. Same on the other side here that we have. This whole piece is ready. We're gonna put some front splitter kind of guards, I think they're called splitter rods, on the front, and they're gonna come up and they're gonna hold this thing up so it doesn't bend or anything like that. But as you can tell, super rigid. Super great material. It's not gonna like mess up. It's not gonna kind of flap in the wind. It has a lot of rigidity to it. So we'll be okay once we bolt this all in. I'm gonna go ahead and get to that, but I just wanted to give you guys a quick update, and I'll show you the finished product after I get this bolted up and I take this sticker off. We'll drill these holes, finish up the project. Alright, so quick update. Everything is bolted up. This is super rigid. It's exactly how I want it to be. Exactly where the level is. I'm not gonna have to drill into my front end, which is what I was trying to avoid. All I need to do now is remove this protective sticker. I'm actually going to run no splitter rods. So I have these on standby, just kind of waiting. I don't like the look of them on there. I kind of decided to go without them. Right now, just these two brackets is plenty to hold this. As you can kind of tell, it's kind of engineering overkill with it, but it's very secure. I don't need the splitter rods at all. I tested it. This is able for me to stand on it. It can go without flexing and everything. So all we're going to do now is take off this sticker, we're going to put the front end on, we're going to run it on the street and see how it feels. And here it is. So this is our finished product. Everything is wrapped up, everything is bolted. I took it out for a test drive, it looks great. Here's our front splitter. You noticed I kind of put a sticker on. This is from Bestworth Rommel. It's a local company who supplied me with this sheet. I did all the cutting myself, didn't do any work with them besides getting the sheet, but they supplied it for me. So huge shout out to them. If you're ever in the Seattle area, they are a great company to work with. Super nice, friendly people. And just want to give them a shout out for it. But yeah, here's the front lip. Looks great. All my splitter rods are in. I Loctited these nuts up. I would suggest you do the same if you ever build one of these yourself, just to make sure that nothing gets broken, or if you do hit something, nothing's going to snap. So there's the front end. Here are the sides a little closer. And they're doing great. Drove it down the street, did about 70, 80. No issues with these. This is just 5 bolts in these coming down. 2 bolts on the side skirt holding them. No real brackets going down. I do have metal strapping that I was going to put on On my straight splitter set, I am going to put that on just for some extra rigidity on it and kind of keep it clean. But yeah, here's the final look of the car for the time being. Don't know how long I'll keep it on there. Don't know how long I'll keep it like this, or if I'm going to do something different. Maybe I'll end up buying a different set and having like a CNC cut done so everything is exactly perfect on this arc. But for now, I really like it. Total price about $55. That's with about hardware, splitter rods, the jigsaw blades. I bought a new set. Everything else about $50 into it, if so, give or take. And I really love the look of it. I did scrape twice already on the underside of this splitter going into a parking lot to get some coffee. And man, it worked great. No damage to the front bumper, no damage to anything. Totally in love with it. Gives me a lot more confidence to drive the car around wherever I need to go. Gives me a lot more flexibility on where I want to go and sort of what I can do. And actually the car does handle great. I have no kind of wheel wobble at high speeds, which I did earlier. No longer do I have that. There's no wind noise at all on this thing. And man, I'm just so happy with it. So if you guys decide to build one your own, I highly recommend it. It's a lot better than just buying one online and just kind of shipping it in, and you feel a lot better about it. So hey, stay tuned for more videos. I want to thank you guys for watching this one, and hopefully you guys enjoy my channel. Peace.